نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in Surah Al-An'am, which is the 7th surah of the Quran, in fact the 6th surah of the Quran, which is Surah Al-An'am. And Surah Al-A'raf is the 7th surah of the Quran. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in Surah Al-A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to the children of Adam alayhi salam. Allah says, Ya bani Adam, O the children of Adam, لا يفتننكم الشيطان كما أخرج أبويكم من الجنة. Do not allow shaitan to deceive you. Do not allow shaitan to put you into temptation and fitna. لا يفتننكم الشيطان كما أخرج أبويكم من الجنة, like how he took out your parents from Jannah. ينزع عنهما لباسهما ليريهما سوآتهما, thereby removing from them their clothing to expose them to their private parts. إنه يراكم هو وقبيله من حيث لا ترونهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then tells us, Shaitan sees you, he and his associates. Shaitan has a crew, has an army. There's not just one shaitan, Like shaitan, there's many shayateen. So shaitan has groups and troops and different types of categories. People, certain shayateen are in charge of certain tasks. So you have the shaitan that's in charge of disturbing you in your salah. That particular shaitan, he has his own task. You have that shaitan that type of shaitan that is set out to cause disunity and to sow and to whisper in your ears. So to cause disunity among you and your wife and among you and your family. So there are different categories of shaitan. And like Allah says, shaitan cannot make you do anything. He can only whisper in your ear. So be wary of shaitan, because shaitan sees you, but he is part of the unseen. You cannot see shaitan. So, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا الشَّيَاطِينَ أَوْلِيَاءَ لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah has made shaitan the awliya, the friends and the associates of those who do not believe in him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the malaika our company and save us from the company of shaitan. Say Ameen. So, among the verses recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us of the people of Ad. The people of Ad. And by the way, the people of Ad was that group of people who were the most powerful nation on earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about their strength. And Allah says, إِرَمَ ذَاتِ الْعِمَادِ. They were of the people of the city of Iram. ذَاتِ الْعِمَادِ, which had towers which were of the highest and most amazing structures. This is the type of towers that they would build. They were skilled in building huge towers and buildings. And Allah says, الَّتِي لَمْ يُخْلَقْ مِثْلُهَا فِي الْبِلَادِ. There wasn't something that was ever like these towers and like these buildings. This was the strength of the people of Ad. So they were blessed and they were given this very strong ability, and they were also blessed with, some scholars deduce from this, that they were blessed with advanced technology in their time. This is how they would build these huge buildings. Even in mountains, they would build from the mountains the highest of towers and highest of palaces. And this was something they were very proud about. So Allah tells us about the prophet that went to them, whose name was, and that will be the question that you can answer today, the name of the prophet that went to the people of Ad. And this prophet alayhi salam came to the people and said, Ya qawm, O my people, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَهٍ غَيْرُهُ. You do not have any other God besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just to give you a little bit of a history, the people of Ad, they were from the progeny of the people of Nuh. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the time of Nuh alayhi salam spoke to the people, and Allah punished his people with a flood. So the remainder of these people, their generation, their descendants, it is said, were the people of Ad. And so they lived in a place close to Yemen, around the Yemen area, and they would speak Arabic. So they were Arabic speaking. So they were the fathers of the Jurhamite tribe. They would be the from those who then became the ancestors of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but from among them. So we are talking now about them speaking Arabic, right? They did speak Arabic, and they were blessed with strength. So they would carve from the mountains these huge buildings, and to the extent that the Prophet said to them, and who is the Prophet, by the way? So we can now say his name. Huh? Jazakallah. Hud alayhi salam. Hud alayhi salam. We should make Doc an exception from the answers. So Hud alayhi salam, it was the Prophet Hud alayhi salam. So Hud alayhi salam then comes to his people and he says to them, أَتَبْنُونَ بِكُلِّ رِيعٍ آيَةٍ تَعْبَثُونَ. They would build these places just for the sake of amusement. And they wouldn't even live in these towers, because besides they would build so many towers that they were not for their own living purposes or for practical purposes. So he would say to them, أَتَبْنُونَ بِكُلِّ رِيعٍ آيَةٍ تَعْبَثُونَ. Are you building in every opportunity, every way, every place, ayatan, a huge sign and a huge tower, ta'bathun, in order to play, in order to find amusement, وَتَتَّخِذُونَ مَصَانِعَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَخْلُدُونَ, and thereby taking homes and places as if you're going to live forever, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَخْلُدُونَ, as if you're going to live and you're going to use these places. So this wasn't their own homes, but they were building these towers in places where they just for show and just for amusement. And they responded, قالوا أجئتنا لنعبد الله وحده ونذر ما كان يعبد آباؤنا. Did you come to us to tell us to worship only one God and leave what our forefathers used to do? Leave what our forefathers used to do. فَأْتِنَا بِمَا تَعِدُنَا. So bring to us what you promise us if you are speaking the truth. And so this was a challenge that they challenged the Prophet Hud alayhi salam. And he said, قَدْ وَقَعَ عَلَيْكُم مِّن رَبِّكُمْ رِجْسٌ وَغَضَبٌ أَتُجَادِلُونَنِي فِي أَسْمَاءٍ سَمَّيْتُمُوهَا. Verily, it has come upon you the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are you disputing with me regarding the gods that you worship, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not revealed any sign or anything regarding? مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ بِهَا مِن سُلْطَانٍ. And then what does Hud alayhi salam then say to them? He says to them, فَانْتَظِرُوا. Wait. إِنِّي مَعَكُم مِّنَ الْمُنْتَظِرِينَ. I too shall be waiting for what? For the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And anyway, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this. And the other point that brought the downfall of these people was what? Arrogance. They were amused by their power and they were tested with the test of strength. So they failed the test of strength. And this is something we should learn from today in the world that we live in, is that this is the common behavior and trait of people who are superpowers. That they tend to become arrogant, and this tends to delude them. May Allah protect us from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was like a superpower nation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the buildings, لَمْ يُخْلَقْ. There was nothing that was like the buildings they built. Scholars say from this that no buildings after what they did and no buildings before this matched the style, the architecture and the design of their buildings. This was the height of their civilization. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought it all to the ground. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Hud alayhi salam warned them, warning after warning, and they didn't heed to the warning of Hud alayhi salam until Hud alayhi salam, a few years passed. And Allah sent them a drought. So now with this drought, their gardens and their beautiful places were now being affected, because what would a person do without the main source of life, which is water? And so they were affected by this drought, and then after a period of time, Allah sent to them a cloud. And then they saw this cloud coming, this dark cloud coming from the horizon, and this huge cloud coming towards them, and they started rejoicing. By this time, Hud alayhi salam and his followers had departed from this area of where they were, and this cloud came close. And as this cloud came close, they are happy, rejoicing that finally the drought is over. And this drought came with a huge punishment, a tornado which toppled all their buildings. And this wind came and it surrounded their place, their city, and and for 7 days, سبع ليالي وثمانية أيام, and 8 days and 7 nights, it surrounded them and toppled them from the ground into the air and threw them on their faces. And Allah speaks about this in the Quran. كأنهم أعجاز نخل خاوية. When it was finished, it was if they were the plucking trunks. All their buildings were like the plucking trunks of date palms. All toppled to the ground, that there was no remnant of whatever they had. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from arrogance. And so this was what happened with the people of Hud alayhi salam, called Ad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and guide us. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa hamdika.